Hello, everybody. I'm Ed Parcaut, your host of Helping the Brave, and let's bring in our guest today. How
Hi,
you doing, Christina?
I'm great. How about yourself?
I can't complain. It's because if you do, nobody listens to you
And
anyway
there you
anymore.
go.
Yeah,
I mean, we always have something to be grateful for, right?
we try. We
We
make sure we
try.
try to make sure that yes. All
Yes.
right. So where are you out of? Where do you
I
live?
am out of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
Okay. And
So
how long
we
you been
have,
there?
me and my husband have been here going on 13 years. In September, it'll be 13 years.
And then your husband is a veteran, correct?
Yes. Yes.
And what service was he in?
He was in the Air Force.
Okay.
He did 5 tours to Iraq. He has a Purple Heart. He was in for 10 years and got medical retired.
Okay. Did he sign up for the show yet?
Huh?
I said, did he sign up for the show yet? I could have swore I sent him the link.
Uh, Honestly, he doesn't ever check his emails. So during so when he got blown up in Iraq, he's actually missing the front left lobe of his brain. You look at the man, looks totally normal, but when it comes to keeping up with emails and keeping up with all of those types of things, calendars are definitely his best friend. So me, the organizer, keeps him very organized.
Right. Well, I mean, all of us have issues like that too sometimes.
Oh,
Even if we have
yes.
a calendar, you get preoccupied with something else. Next thing you know, I mean, if I wouldn't have it up here all throughout the day, I would miss everything. So,
Oh, yeah. Me too. So with my depending on my ADHD and all of that, yeah, I can be like, oops.
all right. So I reached out to you because you help. First of all, you talked about your ADHD, like you just talked about, and then how you help veterans with PTSD and stuff like that. And I kind of want to get into that if you could.
Oh, absolutely. So
I mean, you can explain a little bit more about yourself. I'm just saying that I do want to make
no.
sure I know that that's where I kind of want to go today. So, because helping the Braves of helping vets talk about transition and what they've been through, how they got to the other side, and what they're working on, help them with any issues they have, and then also bring people on here who can help veterans.
Absolutely. So I'm just going to actually use my husband because um, learning how to help him has made me be able to help other people. When I met my husband, he was actually getting out of the military. And I had never had a military person in my family, nor did I really know any military on, you know. So I didn't know what I was getting into. And as we were going through like the VA process and all of the things, some of the stuff just didn't sit right with me. Like, how are we not getting this help? And why are you at one point of his journey? He was on 36 different medications. He's had over 20 surgeries, and we could never really get help. It was just take this medicine, then go see this person, take this medicine, go see this person. And I was just not okay with that. I grew up in a very addictive home, lots of drugs going on, and prescription drugs were one of the main things. And it's like, it still could be a drug if it's getting abused, right? And my mom actually died from that. And I slowly started. Um, my husband in 2016 was very, very ill. His PTSD was out of control. And I just felt so much of the medicine was like a huge factor in that because it was taking one to the other. So I kind of vowed pretty much in 2016, somehow, someway, I was going to find the answers. And also, I was going to pass on my knowledge because as a wife and as a caregiver, I felt I was not getting my message heard either. And it was, of course, so much of the time, they just want to give up. Like, screw the VA, this and that, because they're not finding the help that they need. So I
I mean,
started getting,
and I'm sorry to cut you off, but one of
no,
the problems with the VA is it's a government organization. That's the biggest problem. I
yeah,
would prefer to scrap the whole system and just give everybody top rate insurance that could be taken anywhere at 100 and plus coverage. So everybody would take it. You could get help. There'd be no lines. There'd be no nothing. Just go get your help.
I 1000% agree with that. I will say the Oklahoma City VA has done a turn over the last 2.5 years. Um, but overall, as a whole, as a VA program, it's definitely crippling for sure. And if you
Like
don't have the right person, or you don't have enough mindset to really keep fighting that fight, it's a losing battle. And so I really started digging into Facebook groups and just finding different resources of what could help. And then, so really where it came to fast forward, so I kind of got in with Wounded Warrior Project. I Operation Home Front, like all of these different things, and just shared my resources throughout these Facebook groups of, hey, they can help you with this. Or, a caregiver would be like, my husband's this, and this. Hey, why don't you reach out to this person? I felt like that's the only way that I could truly help, was giving them the resources that I had found on my journey. Well, fast forward 2 kids later, we actually legalized medical marijuana here, and he was actually able to get off of 32 of his 36 medications. And that's really when I started seeing a difference. He started going to the gym, things like that. And then in 2022, he went on a healing and spiritual journey. Well, through all of this, I had lost my job. And I reached out first and foremost to Wounded Warrior. And I was like, is there any resources for this or any resources for home? And it was truly amazing how they were able to give you so many different resources for just different things. Helping the kids with daycare, as I was trying to find a job. And it just was like, okay. So then I kind of started putting together my own stuff. So once I would find it, it's like, well, if I already have 10 resources, why don't I just put together something? Because ultimately during those times, there was a lot of different organizations that helped us through our tough times, financially, mentally, and I wanted to be able to do the same in return. I will say, so that's where the chronic disorganization specialist lied. So I work with the mind, the body, and the home. They all coincide. And with my husband, we were able to go through his spiritual journey. He was rated at a 30 on the VA PTSD scale. The highest you can go is a 32. He was rated at a 31. And through the journey, he got to about a 16, but we really couldn't get much better than that. Like, we were going through therapy, going through different things. And then I came across a lady that she owns a Theta Chamber.
Oh,
And
what?
a Theta Chamber.
It's a Theta Chamber.
So a Theta Chamber is a chamber that you actually get in, and it has ear deprivation. You can
So is
lay
it like a
on.
water
Yes,
chamber? Okay.
yes. And basically, it spins you around at the same rate that the earth is vibrating and spinning. So he was part of a pilot program that he did this for 28 days straight. And his PTSD went from a 16 to a 0. They test him every month. He's on month 5 from doing the 28 days, and he's still at a 0. And what that taught us was, of course, like I said, I do so much with the mind and the body, is when your mind controls so much of who you are and how you do things. And so from it completely reprograms your mind. So at the age of 35, your brain quits growing, and it's actually easier to rewire it because it's no longer growing every single day. So with that technology, he is still at a 0. And also, it's the PTSD aspect of it. It's like I have a whole new different husband. And so through, he does Project Odyssey through wounded warrior, and they have to where just the veterans and family and couples odysseys to really help with, like with us, we did a marriage one because of the PTSD and things like that. We did that, and he is actually going in July to do a mountain odyssey as well, and that is just strictly for veterans. So my hope is through all of this, and the reason I trying to get the message out is I just want to be that resource. I want to be able to help people the way that what I have found that has helped us in our journey, and especially with our family, because PTSD has played such a huge role in my child. So we have a 17-year-old and we have a 5 and a 3-year-old. Well, my 17-year-old has a lot of trauma due to the PTSD. And so many of our children it is being passed down from generation to generation. I will always say the military does a great job of getting y'all ready. It doesn't do such a good job of bringing y'all home.
Yeah, I had a guy on. He was a Marine for 10 years and then incarcerated for 23 years. And he created a program to help vets never get reincarcerated again. And the program he created got funded by the state of California while he was in prison. And then he had somebody else run it, and then he got out and he's been running it. And he always says that you need a boot camp. We have a boot camp in, you need a boot camp out. Because he said the problem is you have a Bradley, you paint it yellow, called a school bus. It doesn't know it's a school bus. It's a tool of war. So it'll be going down the street, ripping up the asphalt. It doesn't know any better because it's a Bradley. You just told it it's a school bus. Well, we need better choices. And he said people with PTSD will either kill themselves or go to prison, because it's just like killing yourself, going to prison.
I will say this: if it wasn't for me knowing deep down that there was a good person, my husband should be in prison. You know what I mean? It's the domestic violence, it's yes, should it get to that point? No, it shouldn't. But in the same sense, if there's not somebody advocating for you and trying their best to help you, but also you got to help yourself. I mean, that at the end of the day, you have to want to change. You have to want to do better. And that's the biggest thing is we are not being able to get y'all to where y'all, I mean, I even watch movies of things and I'm just like, I can't imagine. I genuinely cannot imagine being in that environment and then coming back here and acting like nothing has happened, you know?
Well, see, a lot of that stuff back then, though, depending on when the movie was back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, it took a lot longer to get home. So you dealt with it with your people on the ships and everything else. It took months. Now we're home in a day, 12
Mm.
hours, whatever. That's the problem. There's no time to
Oh,
decompress, get
yeah.
it out of there. There's none of that time. Plus, I found from doing the show that everybody who has PTSD pretty much they had some before they went in the military. Otherwise, they wouldn't run towards danger. And that just it gets exacerbated from what they see. So if we can deal with the childhood trauma first before they get in, one or two things gonna happen. One, they're not going to go in, and then the second thing, if they do go in, what they see is not going to affect them as much, and they can deal with it. They know how to deal with it. The problem is when you increase what you already were attuned to. Because my dad was the son of a bitch, and he was a veteran. He was in Vietnam, Air Force, and he worked on planes. He was just, there was something wrong, and so I had that from my childhood. Well, I went in the service, of course.
Hmm. Oh, yeah. I mean, and I am learning that more than ever. And you are right. I always tell people the analogy you can have the most beautiful flower bed, your outside exterior. But if you do not keep picking those weeds from the root, they're just going to keep growing back and they're going to get more and more and more because of everyday trauma that we put onto ourselves. So, what I try to do when I'm working with ADHD and PTSD, because once again, it's all from that mind, is we've got to figure out where this all stems from. And 99% of the time, it's a very traumatic trauma or just things from childhood. And being able to get to that root and letting that go is going to help you release and be able to manage your PTSD, because it's cut and dry. When you're depressed and you're living in the past, you've got all of that. And when your anxiety is up and running, you're trying to live in the future and things like that. So it's so hard for people because it is that time thing. We've got this, we've got that. You can't decompress. Like you said, you're home in 12 hours. We're not giving ourselves time to process anything. It's shove it down, go on. Shove it down, go on. And that's what we're teaching our children too. So then we wonder why they are growing up this way as well.
I agree. But the biggest thing you said, you talked about how marijuana helped your husband drastically. We did a fire walk for veterans 3 weekends ago here in Modesto, California. It was a 2-day event. You came to one of the 2 days, and there was two different keynote speakers, and then the walk, and everybody was like amazed how much it made a difference just by walking on coals. And it changes how you look at things. It's not going to fix everything, but it's a starting point to let you know limiting beliefs is what's holding you back. And so let's go get this taken care of and move forward. But we had American Weed there, and they were interviewing people because they weren't, giving out product or anything. They were just there to interview vets and and ask questions about how everybody felt about it. I'm in California. Weed's been, forever, right?
Normal, yeah.
Problem is it stinks like horrible. It's like, why does it have to stink so bad? Can you get,
Right?
yeah, I mean, can you just get, my wife's from Hawaii, and she's like, it didn't smell like this in Hawaii, but I guess I don't know what the reason is. I assume it's the potency is so much more now, then that's why it stinks so bad. I have no idea, but somebody should come up with a way to get it to where it doesn't stink, and then it would be more acceptable.
Yes.
And that someone else said, well, don't, and I'm like, no, I can't. It's like cigars. I like this, but I can't stand the smell on me forever. That
Right.
stuff's so potent that it stays and it gets into everything, and it's hard to get rid of. So,
Oh, 1000%. I have special candles and no in the house or anything like that.
well, there's always edibles, I guess.
Yes, and there is, but edibles, it's a Russian roulette. You could take one and then not do nothing, or you could take one and you almost medicated.
Right. And that's the thing about American Weeds is they have a special blend just for veterans. It's the same amount each time.
I
So
like that.
So that way that it's consistent about what you get. So and they're a really good company. And they were nice guys. So
Well, that's good. That's
yeah.
good. And I love the openness of everything now. Is it going to fix everybody? No, because we're not a one size fits all type thing. It's just what works best for you and in your environment. I always tell people it's not about how I want, like, yes, I'm here to help you give the tools, the resources, but ultimately it's what you want and what systems and functions work for you, to be able to move forward with those things.
But it sounds like the most thing that did the most for him was that chamber. What was it called?
The
Batter?
Theta Chamber,
How do you
yeah,
spell that?
THEA.
THEA.
Theta.
Okay, that's
That's yeah.
Okay.
And it actually was invented for somebody that had cerebral palsy. The founder, his son had cerebral palsy, and it was able to help with him. It's supposed to help with addiction, ADHD, just a kind of complete reset. And the good thing that I love about that is it's basically just getting your brain and your mind back to its natural state. So it's not like, oh my gosh, I'm all better. It's just a gradual thing that you just feel better. But I will tell you, being in there, like with the eyes and going around, like it can make you process some stuff. So sometimes it can be hard within that, with everything going on in there.
I also had on Operation Surf. I don't know if you know about them. There's
No.
There's a thing on Netflix. It's called Resurfaced. It's a not documentary about them. They're here out of Santa Cruz. That's easiest. They're not really Santa Cruz, but it's close enough. You wouldn't know if I told you the other place, but you know Santa Cruz. You've heard Santa Cruz.
Yes.
And they take veterans out, bilateral amputees, missing arm, everything out surfing. They just learn how to surf differently. And people with PTSD. If you Google Resurfaced, it'll bring up another movie that's not the documentary, but of a female who was attacked while she was in the military and dealing with her PTSD and how it's totally changed her life. And there was one guy, he shows a bowl of all the pills. This is the one that's good. You're going to see if you watch the documentary. Sounds like your husband. He was taking this bowl full of pills, how much pills that he was taking a week, ridiculous amount of pills. And he went out, he was going out to surf that he just said, okay, I'll go surf, but he was going to kill himself on the way home. Well, changed his life. And he totally, no more suicide, none of that kind of, he's the amazing guy from that and his PTSD. And they don't know what it is, but it's something about the water and out there surfing and not thinking about things that just change. And so I think it's just something to do with water is what it sounds like.
Yeah. I mean, it has to do with water. And it's kind of, when you think about surfing, you got all of the elements. You got the air, right? So depending from an astrological standpoint, you got the air, water, the sun is baking on you, right? And then just the overall grounding. You're grounding yourself out there. You're one with nature. So it is going to, I mean, that's why meditation is so important. And grounding yourself daily is because that way you're one with yourself and you're able to process things from that level versus from the anxiety or the depression side.
So one of the reasons I started this podcast was just to get people to understand what's going on with everybody and help veterans one way or another. And my goal is to put together a site that has everybody who's ever been on and everything that has to do with everything that we talked about, a place for people to go to find the resources, kind of like what you were just saying you were going to do. So when you were talking about what you did, I was thinking about, wow, I'd like to have that added to our site. We don't have it yet, but that's one of the goals.
Oh yeah. I can easily send you a doc right now, of just different things. Some are geared, even with me owning my own business. So all of the different veteran things that can help with that. So it's all different resources from the kids' sides and camps, that a lot of time are completely free, but it's just taking the work to fill out the application and, answering back to phone calls and things like that. Like you have to want it, but it's out there.
Well, I just don't think people know.
No, they really don't.
And that's just like with me, I do a lot of VA loans for people because I'm a vet and I do them and people understand the process and the program. They're like, oh, somebody else have that. No, you don't understand. It's the best program out there. You as a vet, you signed on the line or you had your commission. That's why you get 100% financing. So go buy your house. And
yeah. I 1000% agree with. There's so much resources out there that just need a little help.
Well, that's why we need really one place. There isn't one place.
No, there isn't. Not.
And that's why I'd love to put one place together for everybody.
I think that would be phenomenal. If you need any help.
I do. That's why I'm just asking you. I already asked you. You just didn't hear me yet.
Yeah.
It didn't dawn on you yet. Go get in the chamber. You'll hear it.
You'll hear it. I will gladly send you everything for sure.
Well, I just want I want there to be a place for people to go, okay, I want this. And they go to one place. It's there. Yes, Google's there, but you Google, you get too much stuff, right? It's not what you really, I want to be able to, what is your issue? And then what are you trying to do? Where you want to go? Okay. You want help? No. And I'm even talking about the programs that are outside of the country because they use certain medication that's not allowed in the United States.
Right.
If I don't care what it is to help you with your PTSD, if it helped you with your PTSD, then do it, whatever it is.
I feel shrooms are coming up as well. Like shrooms are a very big one here lately as well.
What's that other one that they're doing? They go to, I can't think of the word, but it's not shrooms. It's a different word. That's what happens when you get older these days. No, I just found out I have sleep apnea. Now I know why I have no,
I'm telling you, once you take care of that, you're going to feel so much better. Like you'll sleep.
I know why I'm doing really well, but I'm not at the 120% I used to be at.
Yeah. So sleep apnea is no fun for sure. I
No,
didn't
I did.
realize how bad it like is until you actually get it fixed, and it's like, oh wow.
Oh, real good sleep. Yeah. So I won't get it fixed for about another week or so.
Well,
I'm
yeah.
just glad I have my wife who has Kaiser where everything's covered. So
So yeah,
better
we
than VA.
actually
Huh?
yeah, we actually keep a separate entrance just so we don't have to do so much with the VA.
Hmm?
Like so when my husband retired
Mm-hmm.
from the military, he actually was able to get with the DOJ. Well, then he got medical retired from the DOJ. And
So he has both.
yeah, he has both. So he has TRICARE from the military and then Blue Cross Blue Shield, federal
Gotcha.
from that. So I was like, we will pay that just so, but I wish that they would do something like that. It would help so many people if they would just let y'all go
Right.
anywhere
Well,
that they
TRICARE was there was when Trump was in, he tried to make it to where it was taken anywhere and then they'd get reimbursed.
yeah.
And it has not been pushed since he's been out the same way. I know there's a lot of good people at the VA. Please don't knock
Yes, and
but it's
believe
just
me, there
overwhelmed. It's
is.
just like the
Yes.
post office. There's some good post offices and some bad post offices because it's owned by
Yes.
the government, and
Mhm.
we need to just get it out of the government hands because nothing run by the government does well. And I'll
And
just
I
leave it at
will
that.
say this, we got about 4 minutes left. One positive thing, and I don't know, my husband, I'm gonna make sure he gets in contact with you because I think this would be a great I'll kinda touch briefly, but he knows so much about it. It's a program here. He gives the vets a card to give to their primary. They give it, and it's a pain management program. And it's a program they get you with chiropractors and massage therapists and Reiki to help with all that. That's what really got it down from a 32 to about a 31 to a 16. And also, they have guitars for vets. So he was able to do a 12-week guitar lesson. They gave him a guitar, all of that. They have wood shop here, just different programs to help you get off of opioids. So trying to go more holistic, the holistic route. Um, but it's a really good program that they are starting. But like I said, I don't know what all VAs do that. He would be able to answer you.
Right. No,
Or,
but it's be nice to have people who've been through the system who can help
Mhm.
set up what I want to set up so
Oh,
that we can
yes.
make sure that even because some people say, oh, I have the biggest problem I find in this industry is there's so many silos. There's nonprofits who say we do this, but they don't refer to the next nonprofit who could pick up the next part of it because they overlap just a little bit. So they didn't,
Mhm.
and I get everybody's got to make money, but it's got to be about the vets first.
Yes, the money will come. I promise.
Yeah.
You need to lead with the servant heart. When we are doing something for somebody else with our full being, the money will come.
I agree. It's about helping people to come. It's like I'm in Rotary. I'm the president of my Rotary this year, and that's why we did the fire walk. I wanted to do more for veterans in our community through Rotary as the president, and so I had the Operation Surf, and then I had the gentleman come over from the prison system that created that whole program to explain to my Rotary understand why we need to help everybody,
Oh,
the
yes.
veterans. And then they were all on board for when I wanted to do this firewalk thing, and it was really good. So we helped about 125. We're already set up for just do it next year, the first weekend in May. This already happened in April, but we're going to do the first weekend in May of 2025 again.
Oh, awesome.
So
Amazing.
feel free, you can come from anywhere, but it would be nice to have this program to where it could be anywhere in the country and we can help you set it up.
Oh, yes, that would be awesome. So, yeah, let's chat after and be able to help you with that because anything that I can do, that's all I can do is my resources.
If somebody wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way to reach you?
So, through my Facebook or through my website would probably be the top.
Which
Um,
is
oh, Christina Rose is my Facebook. And then Declutter Queen, OKC is my just declutterqueen.com is my website.
All right, but even you call yourself Christina Rose, but your last name is Vigil.
Vigil. So my middle name is Rose, and I actually have plans in 2 years to start the Rose Foundation. It's going to be geared towards vets and ADHD for my husband and for me. And like I said, it's a family name. It goes on like my middle name, my daughter's middle name, my mother who passed away, it's her middle name, my grandmother, and basically a rose. Rose has a different meaning for each person, and a different flower means a different thing. And then also it's something beautiful, I think it's one of the most beautiful flowers as they bloom and things. So I just want to be able to put something together to be able to give resources and information, like you said, those ones that almost connect but don't, to be able to fill in those gaps.
Well, why don't you just help me? Then you don't have to recreate the wheel.
I honestly would love that, because I'm not a big create the wheel person.
Well, I'm not. I want to have a bunch of people to help out on this. This isn't about me. It's not about owning it. It's not about anything. The only thing that I focus on is just getting vets on here, and that's all I care about, and helping and how we can help veterans. There so many of us giving our life 22 a day plus one active duty member a day. It's just too much.
I agree. It's 22 too much.
Yes. Christina, thank you so much for coming on Helping the Brave today. I really had a nice time speaking with you.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
All right, everybody, make it a great day.